Welcome to this session on the unified customer view, the foundation of an AI native revenue engine. And I'll be honest, as I was thinking about this title, and these are two very important topics to us at the Value First team, and just helping people, with HubSpot, trying to combine what we need humans to do with what we're trying to get AI to do is really interesting to think about. And as I was putting this together, I thought about it a lot. The key is that there's no, like we've known for a while, there's no tool out there. There's no platform. There's no magic fix here. So hopefully that comes through our presentation. Chris Carolan, Profoundly Value First HubSpot coach, playing pro up profoundly, founder Value First team. My head is always in the clouds. Luckily, AI makes the space for that now. So designing frameworks, trying to figure out things like adoption, also going a little ham with building AI agents, and recently built a whole org structure that includes 53 named agents that we'll talk about a little later. Here with Ryan Ginsburg, founder of Unified Support Solutions, and really our go-to implementer with the Value First team. He's found a way to take my head in the clouds thinking and make it reality in HubSpot portals. Good to be with you today, Ryan. I think you might be muted, or is that just me? Get the audio work. There we go. Yeah.
Awesome. It's great to be here, you guys. And thanks for joining our session on Unified Customer View. It's been a fun journey working with you, Chris, understanding the framework, understanding really the power of Unified Customer View and how it helps bridge the gap in our clients' understanding of what's actually needed to operate an AI stack in an organization.
Yeah, and it's really ramped up over the past few months. And what we're going to talk about today is definitely not just theory. It is what we're learning with clients almost every day, like what's resonating with humans to get them to do what they need to do to put AI in the best position for themselves and for their organization and for their customers, right? So first, what is a unified customer view, and why aren't we talking about AI first? So unified customer view plainly means every person who touches a customer relationship in the organization can see complete relationship context where they already work. If you know us, our preference is hopefully that's happening in HubSpot. But even when you got, a CEO or somebody in the org that already has a pet system, or, that's where they work, we put it over there too. And that's the value of AI, really handling all the complexity that comes into play. So we're just helping people right now. What is the unified customer view for you? What do you need to see? What do you know exists? Right. And it's that complete relationship picture, answering questions like who are they, where are they in their journey, and what do they need, right? And not necessarily a new thing, right? But in reality, where it happens is right before the customer call or right before the monthly board meeting. We scramble, we put spreadsheets together, we put slides together, we put emails together. And in that moment, we achieve unified customer view, and humans and the context in their brains are at the center of that, right? So hang on to that as we think of AI native, right? And these are very specific word choices. AI native, not AI first, right? Because AI first says to any human you ask, it's like, okay, maybe we don't need the human for this thing. Let's get AI taken care of, and then we can realize that that's not happening in practice, right? So AI native means you are very intentional, solving for human judgment plus AI capability, in partnership, right? Not AI bolted on, woven in. And if you need something to compare to, right? Digital native, people who grew up in digital and like never known life without, a handheld device or a computer, right? They think of every process, every task, every experience with digital in mind, right? They might not be very good at human to human contact, right? But that's the difference between, life for digital native. And now we're seeing that with AI native. When you can think in terms of like AI is going to be in the process, right? That's when you start coming at things from an AI native perspective. And then just a little bit about value first and why it's value first and not AI or human first. Wherever, whatever you're asking to do the task, the outcome always needs to be valuable, right? So as long as we're working together from that perspective, and that comes from some simple policies we have: relationships over transactions, empowerment over dependence, so that we can build everything so well that AI operates the way that we need it to, so that we can focus on relationships, human to human relationships, human to AI relationships, like all the relationship stuff, right? Not so much a dashboard or a record view, although that might be the output sometimes. It's really the architecture that makes everything else, automation, AI, personalization, actually work. But just setting unified customer view as an outcome. Why do we start here when we're talking about how are we going to make AI work for our organization? As you've heard many times already today, like, humans are the bottleneck. Humans are the limiting factor. Most AI for most use cases is already way better than it needs to be to solve for this stuff. So how do we handle the human capability element of this? We have to overcome longstanding challenges like marketing and sales misalignment, right? Teams siloing, not being able to talk to each other, not being able to have productive conversations because we're fighting over which tools are doing what, right? Defining things in different ways. We've got to overcome that to help AI do its thing. And that comes from common language, especially natural language. Like, AI is built natural language, right? That shapes, when you can put that in your architecture, properties, objects, stages, whatever is in your system, right? That shapes the data. And that creates the structure and consistency that AI, when trained on that data, can now make decisions you actually trust. And getting to that trust with the humans in the org is really everything, right? Those outcomes compound because everybody's building on the same foundation. And unified customer view, and just deciding that that's going to be a goal. We might be 10% of the way there. We might be 80% of the way there. It has a way of just melting away the tool-based conversations, the yours versus mine conversations, the leader saying, hey, this is a HubSpot project, so not for me conversations, right? Everybody can get behind unified customer view, and that just allows for all the conversations that we need to have, right? Some examples, sales calling things prospects versus MQLs over in marketing. And by the way, getting compensated based on those ways of talking about things. 5 systems means 5 different definitions for activity and engagement in the system, right? AI sees that. It's like, all right, you're absolutely right, Ryan. It should be called 5 different things because that's what I'm seeing in different systems, right? And then confusion happens and we don't trust it and we blame AI, right? With common language, this is like human daily use of language, right? Like people, relationship signals, readiness, audience, researcher, hand raiser, like putting that into the system. We use hand raiser, right? We use that all the time, yet nothing in our system is labeled hand raisers, right? When you name everything next to or as it's defined as natural language, all of a sudden, even when AI starts to go outside the bounds, like a word like audience, maybe I want it to mean this. If we look up audience in the dictionary, it's always going to be the same definition. It's not going to be, well, this is how we define a lead over in our organization, right? You just get rid of all of that stuff. And now AI helps you work a lot more. So what becomes possible, right? And this is where really anything, as you layer it like this. So focus on unified customer view, having that as a goal, right? We get the teams aligned. They decide, I need to see this in this way, in these places. So we take care of the what without worrying about the how, right? It doesn't matter how hard we think the integration is going to be or how much it's going to cost, right? It just tells us what it is. Then we build a data model to support that, right? And the customer value platform data model that HubSpot can support doesn't have to replace every system, but we can put the data there now, right? If you tell us that's where you want it to be. And with these 2 things together, plus AI, we're doing things in HubSpot that we never have to say no. Any experience you want to create for your internal teams to support any experience you want to create for your external customers, like, we're doing it, right? And it's getting this foundation right that allows for it, right? Not only is the technology there and intelligence from AI, but it's just all of the BS that gets in the way of doing this stuff right through unproductive conversations where we can't agree on things. All of that goes away because it's so straightforward, right? And it's to a point where Nico and George and I on the daily AI show, it's like we need to unlock for everybody in the organization. If you can dream it, you can do it. It's no longer about staying in your lane or that's not possible or don't think about that. It's literally just tell us, what you want. And because we've done this foundational work, right, we can get that done. What does that look like in practice, Mr. Ginsburg?
All right. So in practice, what I've seen be very successful with the unified customer view as a framework, as a methodology, is it does take that conversation up a level, takes the tool conversation out, and through those conversations and identifying exactly what each person on the team needs to see where, right? We're able to have kind of this guiding light, right? This North Star. And through essentially this clarity, right? This absolute clarity, the build part of that, of like getting to the unified customer view is immensely like it's like all the walls have been knocked down to get to that goal. So when we think about a completed unified customer view, I'm trying to organize my thoughts here just a little bit. Sorry, you guys.
I think it's like, what we've seen in practice. It's,
Yeah.
again, this is where it's not overthinking it, asking people, what do you know you need to know before you take the next action?
Yeah.
And if somebody made a post on LinkedIn that is relevant and you want to know about it and you want that in the view, let's get it in here. Like all these different data domains, right? To answer the questions, again, who they are and where they are in their journey and what do they care about. Like data's coming in from everywhere already into HubSpot. And all this conversation is helping the humans that you've asked for help build the structure so that we can associate everything properly. We can surface the data and name it properly, like to create, AI ready context, right? Because if there's gaps anywhere, that's like you working for AI at that point. If you're asking it to do, things for you, it's not ready. It needs the context inside of the humans, right? So I think and that's where it goes across every industry, any vertical, any situation you can think of, because the customers on the other side, they want to be heard, they want to be understood, they want to be seen, and they want their expectations met, no matter the situation, right? So if you have a view that's answering who they are, where they are, and what they care about, guess what? You can do all of those things and say, I see you, I hear you in all of the messaging, all of the loop marketing stuff, right? And that unlocks, the rest of HubSpot. So we're going to have Ryan share his screen about what this looks like underneath when you say, hey, AI, right? Like working with Claude Code in this case, this is one of the endpoints, right? Is this unified view situation, this architecture that is very intentional. All of a sudden, it helps document, it helps build, it helps keep it maintained on a daily basis, right? So as he shares his screen, and I can share mine. That's right.
No, I'm here.
Now let me put this big old disclaimer out there. Prior to November 9th, I was not a coder. I'm still not a coder, by the way. I was not a developer. If anybody had said the words like go to the terminal or just use command line or go just learn a little bit of HTML and you'd be great, right? I was like, nope, not me. Give me the drag and drop tool. And once Nico unlocked me, right, and thinking of this as a conversational experience instead of the command line, instead of the CLI, IDE, all these other words, right? All of a sudden, like sure, Claude Code is getting the work done via code, but I'm just getting work done. I'm just using the most intelligent, agile assistant ever to help me get work done. So just keep that in mind so since November 9th, this is one of the surfaces. I spend my time in here. I spend my time in HubSpot, and I spend my time like in other tools that I built out using this interface. So sorry, Ryan, just had to get that out of my system.
No, it's good. I love the passion because it's true. It's like I really can't operate without this tool set anymore. Like this is my home. This is where I spend most of my time. So you can kind of see on the right-hand side, I've got multiple sessions open, all kind of working through different client engagements that I have. But, really at the high level of this, right? I'm working from my local computer, right, in a folder file structure. Everyone understands folders and files on their desktop, Claude Code. It'd be interesting to see just like in the chat, like who is running Claude Code on their computer right now? Like who in the meeting, right, has a similar setup currently? I can't see the chat right now. Let's see.
I'll let you know if anybody.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
But essentially, once you have a foundational setup, and what I mean by foundational setup is you've got a parent directory and you are leveraging Claude folders. So things like agents, commands, hooks, and logs, like these are actually optional, but agents, commands, and hooks are kind of like the building blocks to leveling up how you operate, kind of like with your clients, with your engagements, or really with whatever that you're trying to do. Now, a simple example of that is we have our AI leaders. We've got Pax, Sage, and V. I can just say, hey, V, tell me about what I should, focus on today, right? So we've built this infrastructure with all of our agents using just markdown files. And these markdown files actually can be built with the help of Claude. So as you start to layer on your knowledge and understanding of Claude Code and the folder file structure, anything that you want to do becomes possible because you'll be able to essentially use Claude to then write the agent or the skill file to do the thing that you need to do in that order. And kind of a perfect example of that is, the other day I was working on a project and I needed to migrate from a sandbox account into a production account. In order to like do the property creation and the property group creation and the object creation, to do all of that in a meaningful way and to do it with care and with intent, right? I went and I created dedicated skills on the properties API endpoint and on the create custom object endpoint. I built all those skills out just from this terminal experience. And then I was able to have kind of a custom agent help me model out and write the script needed to go and do that work. I'd say in about 20 minutes, I was able to migrate all 5 custom objects, probably 120 custom properties, all of the pipeline stages, all done kind of in that single motion. So I thought that was a really interesting use case, but it's only enabled when you're in this type of environment, when you can spin up the agents, spin up the skills, and build on top of this. So I hope that's helpful for everyone to kind of understand. And if we take a little bit of a deeper dive, we've got another folder here of different agents like Capacity Analyst and Coach Chris. We have multiple apps that we're just building and spinning up kind of when we need them. I've got our client folder. We've got a inbox like agent that's managing emails. We've got document and transcript management. Nick earlier on the previous session talked about vector databases. So we have access to like a vector database of all of our transcripts. And then in each of our clients folders, we're storing, important documents like contracts and summaries of sessions, all the context and information here.
Yep. And like we usually do, and that's why I like lives on LinkedIn where I can just go long. We're running low on time. And I think, and we've got like so many resources on all this stuff, like those lives I just mentioned. But this will be shared, of course. Like this is key for anybody wanting to build any of this and just like own AI for your organization. It's not about half of that like all those agents. Like I built that and I wasn't a coder. I haven't been to agent boot camp. I don't have any AI certifications, right? But I know how to get what humans want out of their heads, right? Including mine, which I'm getting better at, and just talking to AI and asking for what you want, right? The role of an AI leader needs to know this, and this has got to be the remit for the organization. How do we get humans and AI working together in rhythm, right? So all these systems are like 99% uptime, never going to make mistakes. That's not how AI works. And when you can embrace that and have the humans where they need to be successful, that's how you find success. And just like any tool in SaaS before us, if you focus heavily on trying to fix the humans without the humans, right, it's not going to be a good time for you. So if you want help getting started, got the resources here. Join us, for free on Value First office hours. As the Academy earlier today mentioned, and we appreciate you taking the time with us today and wanting to really get this stuff right, because it's huge.